What's up? My audio is good this time because I'm on PC, so I was not lying in the channel update. But basically, I'm gonna be reviewing Flame of Recca Final Burning slash the manga or vice versa. Basically, the Flame of Recca game and OVA Final Burning, which I'm pretty sure is Japanese PS2 exclusive, only covers the Sodan arc, which is the last arc of Flame of Recca. But before that, there's the Sealed Lands arc, which happens after the Death Tournament. But basically, the premise of this video is self-explanatory by the title. So basically, I cannot watch TV due to being deficit, and Hulu ran out, so I went to Tubi. Of course I can watch TV, I'm exaggerating. It's just that everything out now is a remake or blood, sex, gore, death, and destruction, which basically is what Berserk is. Berserk is fucking edgy and edgy for no reason. That shit does not make your story more mature. Same thing with Euphoria. I was talking to this white homie on PS4, and that nigga hates Euphoria too. But basically that's besides the point. I basically started using Tubi because most of the stuff on TV is trash. I cannot watch TV most of the time because I'm deficit. And basically I found out about Flame of Recca. But this video has been on my backlog since I made the first video on this channel, which really isn't my first video. It's the first time I became a full-time YouTuber. So this is basically the prologue to this video. I'm gonna be explaining every side character, comparing the Flame of Recca side characters to any of Flame of Recca's inspirations, which is obvious that Togashi inspired Flame of Recca because the manga basically damn near the same art style, except Flame of Recca's art style is less angular. You know, it's more a mix around an angular like most 90s anime. I've already explained Recca's family, the fact that Kurei's been taught no jutsu, and he's a part of Recca's team Hokage alongside all of the main characters. So basically, Fuko is just Hiei but female tsundere, fan service, gender swap Hiei. Obviously, the name Fuko is based on the Japanese / Shinto god of wind Fujin, and she's dating Raha, who is a member of the Aura, which is basically Mori's evil organization. Kurei used to be the second in command of the Aura until he was taught no jutsu, joined Team Hokage, and basically Kurei's no longer a second in command, but Mori is the leader of the Aura, and basically Mori's obviously disabled, so he wants immortality. You know, so he's not disabled anymore, but obviously he has a mental disability, you know, and a physical one too, but he's cross-sighted and he likes to kidnap, you know, little girls, like on some EDP type shit or something like that. And obviously, you know, it makes sense why he would do that, you know, even though his backstory isn't a detailed one. He's cross-sighted, so clearly, you know, he's mentally and physically disabled. And the dude's always foaming at the mouth like some predator or somebody with rabies. So obviously, he would want to become immortal, you know. That's why Mori wants to kidnap Recca's girlfriend, Hime, who has healing powers, who is just Orihime, which is some way of healing himself, which, you know, he is basically Orochimaru, who's my second favorite Naruto villain behind Obito. Not because Orochimaru's a pedo, due to the fact he's used to being, you know, a broke, you know, child soldier, you know, and the effects of greed, you know, in the human mind's relatable. But that's besides the point. Obviously, you know, Fuko and Raha's relationship definitely isn't going to be domestically abusive because, you know, Raijin and Fujin are basically mortal enemies, you know, in the Japanese Shinto religions. And Raha is obviously based on Raijin. Plus, he's related to Kurei, so he feels like, you know, he should be a part of the Aura, which is obviously an evil anime organization / villain group / super villain team or whatever. The next character is Domon, who's just Kuwabara, but trash. The next main character is Tokia, my favorite out of the main characters next to Recca and Kurei and Recca's family. Obviously Recca's family because, you know, fire powers, you know, fire has a red hue to it. Red's my favorite color, but Tokia's my favorite character because he has basically Kurama in the manga's design, but like the personality of Sasuke, who's one of my favorite Naruto characters and not my third favorite Naruto character because he has a design like Hiei, even though I think his revenge arc is dragged on a bit and like just padded out for more chapters slash episodes of Shippuden. That's besides the point. That's why Tokyo is my favorite character next to Recca, Kure, and Recca's family. But that's besides the point. Basically, Tokyo wants revenge on the person who killed his dead family by killing him. In order to get revenge on the people who killed his dead family, Tokyo joins Tokyo's Masters Martial Arts School, where all of Tokyo's Masters Martial Arts School's practitioners use ice swords slash ice abilities. Kai is also one of Tokyo's master students, which both makes them classmates in Tokyo's Masters, martial arts classes. Basically, Kai is a side villain, and he's the first of many, or the first black anime character with a good character arc. Basically, Kai is a sociopath like Tokyo's master. Obviously Tokyo's master trained him, and obviously we don't know who Kai's parents are, or parental figures, or familiar, relationships, what they are. So obviously Kai's master slash Tokyo's master is the only form of, guidance he has, whereas parental guidance, or, a teacher's guidance. So obviously he's a sociopath because that's what Tokyo's master taught him to be. Essentially, during the death tournament, Kai reveals he's part of the Aura. He wants revenge on Tokyo, but Tokyo is Tokyo's master's favorite because Tokyo's master ordered the hit on Tokyo's family, who are dead, his dead family, basically. So Tokyo's adrenaline could just make him stronger due to the fact Tokyo's adrenaline creates his anger, which temporarily makes him stronger. Unlike Kai, who is never stayed to have any relationship with his family. So, Kai doesn't have any loved ones, which obviously that would mean Tokyo would have more potential than Kai because he's always angry. During the battle between Kai and Tokyo, Kai teaches Tokyo not to want revenge, and obviously that allows Tokyo to be friends with Team Hokage and train with him in order to get stronger than Tokyo's master, so he can kill Tokyo's master, who's a part of the Aura. I think the Death Tournament is an A tier to A plus tier arc because it's based on the Dark Tournament, which is an S tier slash peak arc in my opinion. After the Death Tournament, the Sealed Lands arc begins. Basically, the premise of the Sealed Lands arc is that once upon a time in ancient Japan, there was a good blacksmith who became one of the leaders of the Hokage clan and one of the dragons that basically trained Recca and basically explained to Recca what I'm explaining to you now, the premise of the Sealed Lands arc before the Sealed Lands arc begins. But basically, he's just Master Roshi. And there was the bad blacksmith, basically invented the most powerful Madogu, which turns humans into zombies, which is a good thing, but zombies can regenerate, which makes them immortal, which obviously can regenerate your attributes, making you, more stronger. But it also turns you into a zombie, which basically makes you brain dead. So it's basically just rabies with regeneration powers. That's what the most powerful Madogu does. Due to the fact Mori's a mad scientist and a researcher, he found out about the most powerful Madogu and he wants it. And the most powerful Madogu is, obviously sealed within the Sealed Lands. And on top of that, Mori does not care about the side effects of the most powerful Madogu because he already and is numb to having, a mental disability. So he really doesn't care if he's brain dead. Basically, the Aura and Team Hokage have to race to basically get to the most powerful Madogu in the Sealed Lands. But on top of that, meanwhile, Kure basically is replaced with Rasen. Rasen's design is basically like Sensui's design, but he has slick back hair and a long sleeve shirt. That's cool. But I like Rasen's design more because I like the fact he's albino, which means he has red eyes, and I like the color red more. Also, Rasen has a soulless look in his eyes, almost like a psychopath. Basically, which is cool because his design with the fact he has soulless eyes connects to a lore reason, because basically Rasen was born with a Madogu which allows him to erase everything. So basically when he was a toddler he accidentally used his eraser Madogu slash Madogu to basically erase his mother and a part of his brain, killing both those specific things, which basically made him a sociopath and basically made him traumatized. So basically, Rasen basically believes you should not care about people such as Rasen's girlfriend Kirin, who is a part of the aura. Basically, he believes that makes you stronger, but the less you care about people, the more willing you are to kill and achieve your goals. But obviously, Recca doesn't believe that because he found his long lost mother, and obviously Recca does not believe that because he believes in order to be stronger you have to have a normal brain, which means caring about people. Otherwise you can think in battle. And obviously Recca beats Rasen and Talk no Jutsu, saying Rasen and Kirin lead the era. Rasen is a cool sub boss and honestly a cool villain. I'll say, he's a good side villain slash sub boss, but basically that's besides the point. Now I'm going to talk about the ending of the Sealed Lands arc, and basically Team Hokage and the Aura battle within the Sealed Lands cave for the most powerful Madogu. Despite the fact Mori's a martial artist, Mori's not a ninja. So Mori loses to Team Hokage, but he does run off with the most powerful Madogu, which he uses to regenerate and increase his strength in the meantime. I like the Sealed Lands arc because it's like the chapter Black arc mixed with the Sasuke retrieval arc, which is one of Naruto's best arcs, making this arc A tier. It would be higher if I was a new anime fan, which would have made this anime arc and anime more unique. After Rasen's defeat and Rasen's defect, along with Kirin's defeat and Kirin's defect, basically Mori created two new aura members, Aoi and Range. Basically Aoi is a clone of Kure when Kure was temporarily bad, which obviously since the fact Aoi is made from Kure when he was temporarily bad, that means Aoi is most likely to be permanently bad. Except the problem is Aoi is a clone, so due to the fact Mori's a mad scientist and obviously is mental, he made a mistake and created Aoi with the ability to use fire. Bro, the series is called Flame of Recca, and this dude does not have Recca or Recca's brother or Recca's clan signature technique, so this dude is basically a defective clone. Like the twin snakes, Solid and Liquid Snake from MGS, who are defective clones of Big Boss. Excluding their brother, Solid Snake, who's a perfect clone of Big Boss. Aoi, who ironically has the same name as Ao Kusanagi, who is Kyo Kusanagi's sister from KOF, who wields fire. She's only appears in the KOF manga, but we want her as a character in KOF. But basically, that's besides the point. Basically, Aoi, who doesn't use fire, is named after a character, well, not named after, but has the same name as a character who can use fire, who came out before him. On top of that, know who else doesn't have fire in KOF? Shingo, who's a joke character. I don't speak Japanese, so my country ass is saying range. It's range with a E or range or range or range. I don't know. Range is basically a clone of Kurenai, who is Kurei's literal guardian angel, which allows him to basically use purple fire. So she's basically a stand or an avatar. So basically she's like a mix between a JoJo stand and a Susanoo from Naruto, which is ironically based off of Tengu, another Japanese Shinto god. But basically Range can use fire. So basically she can use fire, but Aoi can't. So basically Range is a woman, so she's physically weaker even if she learns how to fight, but Kurenai can't fight. So basically this is like Colonel and Iris from Mega Man X4, where you have an artificial human prototype that's too powerful to function, but it's made out of two of the most powerful components, such as Iris's emotions, which allow her to gain adrenaline, which makes her stronger in battle, and Colonel's power. But the fact is that only a woman can have strong emotions, and only a man can be the most physically strongest unless a woman trains or uses steroids to become the physically strong. So you divide that original artificial human into two artificial humans of opposite genders, which embody two of the components the original artificial human was supposed to be made of, which is basically Ao and Range. Obviously, Mori created Ao and Range, but Kurei also did because Kurei's genes and Kurenai, who's a part of Kurei's genes, created them. So basically, they're the children of Mori, Kurei, Kurenai, making them the nephew and niece of Recca. As Mori's new second in command, Ao uses a gun like Android 17 and Toji because Ao doesn't have firepower, so he needs firepower to make up for his lack of firepower. That was not funny, but Ao is based because he's packing heat. Like Yukiora from Bleach, or Ukiora, I can't say it, tongue twister. Japanese, well, technically, even though Bleach is made by a Japanese person, all of the Espada, including Yukiora's names, are based on a Cuban religion. So technically, Spanish or whatever indigenous language Cubans speak, even though Cubans, racially, they're kind of black and white and mixed, but that's besides the point. But basically, Ao basically is jealous of Hime, like how Yukiora is jealous of Orihime, because she has connections, but she's not a failed lab experience like both of them. Ao uses the fact that he's gay and a cross-dresser to befriend Hime because she's a woman. She kidnaps Hime like how Yukiora kidnaps Orihime, and basically Mori's goal is to basically, after he regenerates, basically absorb Hime's powers of regeneration, because Mori has regenerated and he's in his zombie form, but if he absorbs Hime, he'll basically have more powerful regeneration, which will make him invincible. The blood guy named Purico has Choso's blood powers from JJK, but he has a normal design unlike Choso, so he's cool. The blood guy has blood powers, but he fears death because he was threatening into joining the aura by Mori, which makes the blood guy a tool for Mori, despite not wanting to be evil all the time like Haku and Naruto. So the blood guy's cool. Basically, the Soldon pulled in a Rancor arc and copied the Sealed Lands arc part way. The Soldon arc is an inverse of the Sealed Lands arc because instead of the aura invading the Hokage's territory to steal the most powerful Madogu, Team Hokage are invading the aura's base, which is called Soldon, to prevent Mori from becoming evil in order to gain more power. The Soldon arc is C tier. Flame of Recca is objectively, a mid-anime, but I'm gonna give it, a good. So basically, mid would be like C, B would be like good, and A plus, A plus, and S tier would be like peak. So objectively, it would be in B minus to B plus, but I'm gonna give it an A because I like ninjas. Plus I got nostalgia because it's based off Yu Yu Hakusho.